Hello, and welcome. Let me stop sharing my screen here quickly. I just want to get started, and I want to say welcome. So, I am super excited. I hope you are ready to strap yourself in. This is going to be one of the most important webinars that I'm going to do at all in the whole of 2025, and I would argue certainly for the next 12 months. I also believe that it's one of the greatest gifts that I can share with you. And whether you're a shareholder, whether you're a mastermind member, whether you're an investor, whether you're part of our community, I am going to endeavor to literally share what I believe is going to be one of the greatest gifts that I can give you. And so with that in mind, I want to take you on a journey. And I strongly recommend that tonight you have a pen and you take notes. And I've got some great things that I want to share with you as well in terms of this process. So where are you all coming from? Always fun to type it in the chat box. Fantastic to kind of hear where everyone's coming from. I think you should be able to chat to everyone. Yep, you can. So yep, type in the chat box. Always great to see everyone. And in terms of where you're at, Kelly, just to confirm, you are the co-host, I think. So you should be all good. In terms of participants, let me just double check. Yep, you are there. Let me just double check that you are my co-host. Yeah, I've done that. Okay, so we're good to go. Okay, strap yourself in. Someone was asking me how long this is going to take. And this is interesting because I kind of want to just frame this quickly up front. I am going to try and add as much value right now as possible. This is not like one of those curated kind of sales pitches where people talk for a certain amount of time, then there's a big sales pitch, blah, blah, blah. It's not that. This is about value. The whole way through, I will reference like how you can take this forward if you want to. And at the end, I'll kind of show you what you want to do if you want to. But in simple terms, tonight, you can't get this anywhere else in the world. And tonight, I want to be able to share with you. And just by the way, actually, let me talk about that just now. Okay. So there are 10 investor strategies, which I have put together. And ultimately, it's the top 10 lessons from the 2025 Investor Summit at Sea. Now, what I want to share with you is just quickly remind you, most of you have seen this already, but just remind you of what that journey was. So back in June, I got to present with Robert Kiyosaki, and this was me thanking him. This was me showing him my book and telling him about the impact we've made around the world. And that was due to him and the impact his book's made. And this was me presenting on stage and thanking him so much. At a private dinner later that evening, he actually called me over, and someone happened to get this on camera, where when he understood my book and understood everything about what we do, he actually said, you need to come to this Investor Summit. So he personally invited me to it. He's been going for 10 years. He's one of the founding kind of members. And he's the biggest dog in the room by a long way. And as I said, he personally invited me. And to be honest, when someone like that invites you, you really have to think it through. It was quite a big problem for us because obviously we had a lot planned and there was a significant amount of money to be there. Trust me, there were no freebies. And so I had this decision, am I going to invest $10,000 to spend 9 days with Robert Kiyosaki and these other incredible people? And I pondered it and had multiple debates with my team members. I also had multiple dates with many of the coaches that I work with. And, eventually there were 100 reasons not to go, but there were 2 reasons to go. And the first reason was that I stand on stage all the time and I tell people that you should invest in yourself, and productivity is power. And whenever I invest in myself, I get results quicker, simpler, safer. And therefore I should listen to myself. It's still difficult when you have to invest $10,000. And the second reason was actually because my logic was proximity is power. There I am. And if I can go and gather all this information, if my thing is not to make sure that it's not just a holiday, but actually I can go and get the information, not only is that going to dramatically increase the quality of Wealth Going Global, which we're launching tomorrow, but also it's going to dramatically add value to all of our community if I can come back and share that information with you so that you don't have to get on an airplane, you don't have to be there, and yet you can actually get access to the information. And so there are 130 people that attended this Investor Summit. And you know that you actually can't get this information from anywhere else on the planet because 129 of them didn't do what I've done in terms of that process. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about that. And so even these people that were at the event physically don't have the quality of information you're about to get, because there's no ways when you're somewhere for 9 days and 40 different presentations and panels that you can synthesize all the information in terms of that process. So let me start by sharing a little video with you, and I just need to make sure that my share screen has the sound on, because it'll set precedent to kind of who the people are in the room. And you might have seen this before, but it's a short little video and I wanted to share it with you. And as you can see, I'm sitting right up front and with this incredible group of people. And my gift to you tonight is I'm going to synthesize the entire experience into the top 10 lessons. And then most importantly, you as an investor, what can you do with it in terms of investment?
Had the most incredible couple of days with you. Thank you so much for inviting me.
And Scott, I am so proud of you. I mean, you took the risk, you came here. It's a great program.
Everyone asked the question around, how do you get into the investor mindset? And I asked you at breakfast, I said, what's the single most important thing to being an investor in the Quadrant? What would you say it is?
Laziness. Now, it's education and, you know, skill sets. Yeah. People don't have the skill sets to be an investor. They went to school to get a job, not got an investor.
And I mean, talk to us a little bit about that financial education. You talk about how that's so important for everybody.
Now, financial education is having money work for you.
Yeah.
So you don't work for money. So you're not slave to money, especially today, because the world is changing so fast. The United States is the biggest ghetto nation in history. Something's going to happen, good and bad. So if it's bad, you like it, but it's just amazing how much power our brains have.
Oh, no, it's incredible, though.
But we're not trained to use it, though.
Yeah. No, it's 100%. Well, listen, thank you very much. I really respect it, and thanks for inviting me.
Thank you for coming here. I mean, I'm so proud of you.
Awesome. Thank you, Robert. I appreciate it a lot. Thanks, mate. Cheers.
So most of you, I assume all of you actually know who Robert Kiyosaki is. Just for those of you, if anyone's in the room that doesn't, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, the author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, the number one personal finance book in the world, and the most copies ever sold in that category by anyone ever, in terms of that process. The next one was Peter Schiff. He basically predicted the crash in 2008. I bought this book, The Real Crash. I'll talk about what he thinks, but also he flew in his private jet, to put it in perspective, and he talks on the national press in America all the time. So the CNBCs and the Bloombergs and all of them. So very, very well known in America. The next one was George Gammon. He's actually got a company called The Real Capitalist. Again, extremely well known. I've actually, funny enough, been following him for quite a long time on YouTube. Really interesting in terms of macroeconomics and everything in between. This guy, Mike Maloney, he wrote this book, The Gold and Silver, The Rush of the 21st Century. He studied the monetary system for over 2,500 years. He's been to all the museums all over the world, and it was really interesting with regards to gold, silver, cryptocurrency, and the future of currency, etc. Steve Streetman, he wrote this book, which maybe is not of interest to everyone, but certainly to me, I loved it. It's all about cryptocurrency and real estate. For those of you who do or don't know, we launched our first cryptocurrency backed by real estate in 2017. So it's certainly something I'm very interested in. And our platform was the first in the world to go on the blockchain, the real estate platform. Ken McElroy, he's one of the Rich Dad advisors, Robert Kiyosaki's personal investor for property, real estate. He's aiming to do $1 billion this year in real estate. He's done 500 million so far, and he's got 500 to go. So really interesting in terms of perspective. And then many, many others. And what was interesting is that not only were there 14 panel members that were incredible, but there were 116 other people that were there. And some of them in their own right were incredible. Like my mastermind members are going to get access to self-storage. And there was a guy called Claire that was there for the self-storage. And, you know, he has come for 10 plus years. I don't know the exact number. It was about a decade. And when I spoke to him, well, tell me about self-storage. And he was like, oh, I own $100 million. $100 million worth of self-storage, just him and his family. And, you know, those are the type of people you're dealing with. So it's not only sitting in the panels, but it's the conversations you're having with those type of people. And that was a conversation I had with him having a beer at the bar, you know, in terms of that process. Now, what am I about to take you on? because what I did was I went to all 40 presentations and I wrote notes on all of them. Let me stop sharing quickly so you can see my screen properly. And I wrote notes on everything. Okay. I then also had my iPad, which some of you might or might not know how to use this technology, but there's a piece of technology where you can write notes. So every single one of the presentations, I actually have recorded. Okay, I not only have my notes from what was happening, okay, but it's also the voice recording as well. So what I'm doing for people that are part of Wealth Going Global and the Mastermind is every Friday, I'm actually taking you through each one of these sessions and going into them in more detail. I then also every day recorded 2 videos. I recorded a long form video with all my notes, my key takeaways, and then I had a short form video with like the top 5 takeaways from the day. Now, why is this all important? Because I'm trying to show you where this all comes from. I then took all of that information, every single thing. So the 40 presentations, all the audio recordings, my videos, my key takeaways, everything. And I put it all into technology and I synthesized everything and I came out and I said, right, give me the top 10 takeaways and help me make sense of this whole thing. And what I'm about to share with you is effectively that process in terms of where you go. So you get to choose. And before I share my screen here, let me just get this open for you. So I've basically built a workbook, which I'll share with you later how you can get access to that workbook. In fact, actually, I'll tell you right now. So you're going to go here to school, and you'll see here, so in the Wealth University School group, which I'll put in the chat room for you, you're literally going to go here, and you're going to comment the word wealth. Okay, you can see people have already started doing this. And then you're going to get access to 2 things. You're going to get access to the Investor Summit at Sea, and I'm going to be working through this now, doing the presentation, because all 10 of these steps, there's a lot of detail with the key insights, the key takeaways, and most important, the action steps. So I'm going to do my best to summarize this for you in this presentation, but I've also got a workbook for you. The other thing that I'm going to give you is the Ultimate Wealth Action Plan, which is effectively what are the action steps that you need to take based on all this information. Now, if you think that's cool, you can just type the word cool into the chat box, because this is $10,000 worth of time for me to be there, but an extraordinary amount of time that I've had to take to follow and synthesize all this. I know that none of you have time to listen to 9 days worth of recordings, and it wouldn't probably make sense to you. But what I've done is I've synthesized everything so that you can walk away with the actual information. And specifically, I've made it, I'm going to talk about it today. So you got the theory, and we're going to go into the action plans. I cannot give it justice I'm aiming to do this in sort of 60 to 90 minutes, but there's no ways I can give it justice in that time. And so I'm giving you the backup tools. I do remind you, Kelly, in the chat room, if you can just put in the link to the Wealth University School group, whether people are live or they're watching the recording, then the only place to get it is if you're in the Wealth University School group. If you are part of Wealth Hackers or the Mastermind, I'll just give it to you as a gift. Okay, cool. In terms of that process. So, right, let's rock and roll. Thank you, Rainier. Yeah, brilliant. Thank you, Rainier, for sharing it. I really appreciate it. Okay, so the principle we're going to have all night is the choice you really have to make for yourself in terms of your investing going forward and your wealth is, are you going to do it on your own, or are you going to have a team doing it with you for you? And you're going to see why this is so important, but you ultimately get to choose. I know that I've always, and I've already mentioned the story, I've always invested in myself. I forgot about doing it for a number of years. Just by the way, I also went into a trough and I allowed small-minded people to stop me doing what actually works for me. But I've finally found my self-confidence again, my self-belief. It's fantastic. And I'm back to the best. I'm literally feeling the best I've felt in a very long time. And I mean, as an example, it was Tony Robbins back in 2010, 2011, $50,000 invested to go learn the best from him. Keith Cunningham, who's the original Rich Dad. Dr. Dolph DeRuis, $8,000 to go learn from him about property back in America in, I don't even remember what year, 2011, 2012. Dr. D. Martini, everyone knows who he is. George Ross, that was what the hell is it called? Anyway, he was a senior advisor to the president. Richard Branson, $40,000 spent a week with Richard Branson. Danny Mouton, one of the top, if not the top businessman in South Africa. Jim Rogers, at the age of 37, $1 billion billionaire. And so for me, like I've got a lot of track record of doing this. And why do I do this? Because I fundamentally believe that when you go and learn from the best in the world, you can literally take decades and turn it into days. And on top of that, you can get results quicker, simpler, safer. I'm going to say that again. Quicker, simpler, safer. Because you can go figure it all out yourself and you're going to make mistakes. And if you want results, I want results. I invest in myself with people who already know what they're doing so I can get there quicker, simpler, safer. In terms of next steps, I will share with you at the end. Again, you've got two options. The one is you can jump on a discovery call. And the second option is you can join Wealth Going Global in terms of the process. So just very quickly, what is it about? A discovery call is where you sit with one of our team members and they literally want to understand what are you wanting to achieve? Where are you at right now? So where do you want to be? Where are you at right now? What's blocking you to get from A to B? Because chances are you wouldn't be here otherwise. And then simply, how do we help you get there fastest? And there's three parts to that. Phase one is we help you create a strategic wealth plan. Phase two is you get access to income generating investments. And phase three is our smart investing system. I'll talk to you later about what that is. But if you are interested, then this is particularly if you want to join the mastermind and have work with the family office. I don't have time tonight to go into all that detail. Then booking a discovery call is the best way to get started in terms of that process. Then the other option is what we call Wealth Going Global. And that's where, in simple terms, it's for those people that are currently stuck in the 99%. They're anxious, they're uncertain, they lack diversification, they lack passive income, specifically globally diversified passive income, and they're financially stuck. Okay, now you might have someone who's wealthy stuck in one country. Maybe they're in South Africa and they've got they're wealthy in South Africa. They do have passive income, but all their money's tied up in South African property, as an example. Like they're still part of the 99%. They're not a global citizen. They're not globally diversified. How do you get someone into the top 1%? Well, that's Wealth Going Global. And it's a roadmap to get you there. And it's basically like investing like the top 1%. It's where you're diversified, you've got global passive income, your financial freedom, and you're a global citizen. And what do we do? It's a 6-week module. It starts literally tomorrow morning, tomorrow at lunchtime, depending on what time zone you're in. And I literally take you through what is your why? How do you set up? Why is this important to you? What are the top 5 countries to invest in? What are the top 5 currencies that you should be investing in? What are the top 15 assets that you should be investing in? How do you find the right partners in England, America, Australia, Europe, etc.? How do you build a plan over time so that you've got a robust and resilient plan? And then there's a bonus module around smart investing and ultimately using technology to get results. And so you walk away with your own wealth plan, your own personalized wealth plan. You walk away with your investor strategy sheet. And in simple terms, you can fill in on one page the key components to this. So I'm going to put up a little survey. And if either of those or both of them you're interested in, then you can just fill in the survey. So I'm going to launch the survey now. It's going to be live for the entire presentation. And just to remind you, particularly if you're wanting access to working with me and with the family office, then I would book a discovery call. And if you're wanting to come on a 6-week journey, which by the way, I'm also running live, then that is where you're going to get access to the information and the knowledge. And ultimately, there'll still be an opportunity to join the mastermind later, but you'll have the substance in terms of that process. So you can choose whether you would like to be on a discovery call or join us at Wealth Going Global. I do remind you of Wealth Going Global. I will talk about it later at the end in terms of the information. Okay, let's rock and roll. Let me share my screen again because I really want to kind of get into all this information I want to share with you. So I'm just trying to give you, this is not a sales webinar, but I'm trying to give you the next steps. If taking all this information, how do you actually use it? Okay, so it was 9 days, $10,000 investment, 130 elite investors, insights from Robert Kiyosaki, Peter Schiff, Ken McElroy, Mike Maloney, and many more. It was not a vacation for me, and I think everyone else who was there. It was a transformation. And ultimately, what I want to share with you is how to build, protect, and multiply your wealth in this era of economic upheaval. I'll explain a lot more about that. I also want to help you make smarter investment decisions, protect your assets from systematic risk, position yourself for opportunity during uncertainty, and move into the investor quadrant and stay there. So again, just reminding you that in this book, Robert Kiyosaki talks a lot about the employee, the self-employed. That might be the doctor, the accountant, the lawyer, pretty much anyone that's running a small business that pretty much depends on them working hard. Then you've got the business owner, the B quadrant. They're the guys who hustle. They're the ladies that hustle. They still work hard for money, even though they've got whole big businesses. And the final one is the investor quadrant. And that's where you make your money work for you. So it's how do you use your money to make it work for you? And that's what the investor quadrant is all about. So if you like those, then you're in the right place. That's what I'm going to be sharing with you. That's what I'm going to be doing. If you don't like that, then you're in the wrong place, and I'd suggest you jump off. I'm just being facetious, but yeah, that's what I'm trying to share to try and help you through this process. Okay, so let's go into literally number one, the fall of fiat and the rise of real assets. What was the core principle here? Well, the central banks are trapped. So in the old days, if the central banks wanted to stop growth in an economy, they put up interest rates. If they wanted to stimulate the economy, they dropped interest rates. Right now, they are trapped because they're getting into an environment where they're not going to be able to stimulate the economy by putting up interest rates. By bringing down interest rates. They actually have to put interest rates up because inflation is actually accelerating, debt is exploding, and fiat is dying in terms of this process. And so what is the core action here? You need to move into real assets, gold, silver, commodities, and real estate. And the action is that you need to increase intangible assets. So why is this important? Well, when you come in at the mastermind level, or even when I do the diversification challenge, and if you go look at the wealthiest investors in the world, by the way, there's 579,000 people that have $30 million or more in basically high net worth. And of those people, more than 50% of their allocation is in alternative assets, like real things, like not stock market, paper, et cetera, et cetera. By the way, if you do the math, it's closer to 70% in terms of that total. So, and when you look at the average 99% investor, the people on this side of the fence, they've got the majority of their money in the stock market and in bonds, et cetera. So it's literally like, it's completely opposite from what the top 1% are doing in terms of this. Now, what did a couple of them say? So Peter Schiff said, the dollar days are numbered. It's not about if, it's about when. Brent Johnson said, the dollar milkshake theory explains how the US gets stronger in crisis. The US dollar, it gets stronger in crisis. But that strength destroys global liquidity and leads to systematic instability. Okay, he basically went on to say that there's no trust within, not no trust, but declining trust within the American system and within American politics, and that actually he's expecting the inverse now of what is going to happen. Robert Kiyosaki said, cash is trash. You want real assets, gold, silver, oil, land, and real estate. George Gammon said, real estate and commodities are where central bank money flows when fiat confidence breaks. Now, just before I go to the action steps, what I've got is I've got the workbook here, which all of you are going to get access to as long as you go and click the word comment there. I don't want to have like slides that are 20 slides per item. So what I have done is I've gone through my notes and I've just highlighted key stuff out of the workbook that isn't in the slides, but I wanted to make sure that it was covered. One of the things that they said here, inflation is no longer transitory and currency debasement is now policy, not accent. So countries around the world, be it England, be it America, they actually are debasing their currencies in terms of the process. It's not actually an accident. Some of the key takeaways are that fiat currency are being debased at an unprecedented speed. Central banks are trapped between inflation and insolvency. So let me explain that a little bit more because I probably didn't go into enough detail, was that the reason that inflation or that the banks are trapped, that if they put up interest rates, so let's use America as an example. If they put up interest rates, then they need to spend more money to pay the debt, so that you have to pay interest on the debt. But the problem is that the interest on the debt is already more than the income that they're earning. So they have to keep interest rates low just so they can afford their debt. But now, if they put it up, they go insolvent. And if they don't bring it down, they don't stimulate the economy. That's how they are trapped, basically, between inflation and insolvency. And then real assets, things that are scarce, tangible, and needed. So that's where you look here, what Robert Kiyosaki said as the example: gold, silver, oil, land, real estate. Because they're scarce, there's only so much land and real estate. They're tangible, they're physical. They're not based on sentiment. They have real value. And they're needed. You know, back to Zimbabwe. Even in Zimbabwe, where the entire economy collapsed, the houses in Harare were more expensive than houses in America because they were needed. Okay, so what do we do as, I think that's everything for number one. Yep, that's everything for number one. So what do we do as investors? And let's just get into it here. Boom, 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 boom. So what do we do? What's our action items? And just by the way, this is what I believe so much. You know, I wrote this book, Property Going Global, because I don't see the point of listening to Clem Sander without actually turning into action. So this is what I'm trying to do for you. I'm taking all the key takeaways, and then what were the action items, and what do we do as investors? Number one, increase your allocation to real assets: real estate, land, gold, silver, oil, and food-producing farmland. Reduce dependency on fiat-denominated paper assets. Study and understand monetary history. Books by Ricketts, Rothbard, and Maloney. Add intentional exposure to your portfolio. Sorry, not intentional. Add international exposure to your portfolio. Diversify across currencies. Just a caveat here. This effectively, although there were, supposedly people from 7 different countries, the majority of people were American by far. I mean, I think there were 6 people I know that weren't real Americans. So when they talk about international exposure, the Americans talk a lot for Americans because the majority of Americans have all their money in America, literally everything. And so for most of us that are not American, we've got diversification already. It doesn't mean not invest in America. It just means don't have all your eggs in America, all of them. Okay, just to be clear on that. And then prepare for volatility and a wealth transfer during currency resets. Okay, so they're the 5 things. Now, let me show you how this works. So if you go back here to the workbook, you can see here that there's the introduction. You can read all about it. What do you do about it? Blah, blah, blah. You can see the summary of the top 10. You can even see the action plan. We're going to talk about this. But now you go into theme 1. So you can read it. You can see the key insights. You can see the takeaway principles, and then you can see the action steps. Okay, so I'm kind of going to go through it. I don't have time to get into like Q&A tonight. That is what the Friday sessions are for every time. And it's also what Wealth Going Global is for, because I'm going to take all this information and I'm going to literally teach you how to use it within Wealth Going Global in terms of that process. Right. The next theme. But I do want you to know the themes, and I do want you to have action steps in terms of the process. Just let me know how this is for you and where this is landing. It's a shitload of information. I get that. And I'm going to do my best to condense the 10 of them. And I have given you the white papers and the workbooks, etc., to follow up and have a follow-up in terms of that process. Okay, let's go to number 2. And for number 2, we go into strategy number 2. Passive income is not optional, it's urgent. The core principle here, freedom requires recurring income. So again, a lot of people like go and buy houses or Bitcoin and they're like, oh, I'm free. You're not free, because you might have money on your balance sheet, but you can't go to the pub or to the shop and say, hey, I've got money in a house. That you have freedom by having passive income, and specifically diversified passive income in terms of that process. Whether it's self-storage, RV parks, or syndications, passive income is the key to freedom in a volatile world. Case study of 20 to 40%. So we are going to go through this, and I told you already, the first one that we're going to go through is in self-storage. and he's getting returns of between 20 to 40%. So there were multiple people that spoke at this event where they were getting returns of 20 to 40% in US dollars with significant track records. I really liked a number of them. And all it was showing is that, we as investors, there are other things out there that we don't need to only invest in the stock market, as an example. And again, I'm not saying you shouldn't be invested in the stock market. I'm just saying you should be diversified. Shift into the investor quadrant. I mean, this just came about. That's why I started with that video of Robert Kiyosaki. It is so critical that you get into the investor quadrant. And I'm going to tell you how to do that as well. And then the action, build passive income streams now. Now, I don't care if you're part of the employee quadrant, the self-employed quadrant, or the business owner quadrant. You have to build income streams that are outside of your current, if you're basically making money while you sleep, that's what's critical. And they need to be diversified because you don't want all your eggs in one basket in terms of that process. Okay, some insights here. Ken McElroy said, the key to financial freedom is building a portfolio of assets that pays you monthly, whether you're working or not. Steve Streetman shared new models for passive income using AI, syndications, and predictive analytics to de-risk deals. So again, he was one of the technology guys. And then Robert Kiyosaki emphasized the shift from the employee self-employed quadrants to the investor quadrant where your money works for you. Right. What are the action steps here? Sorry, just before I go to the action steps, let me see if there's any extra thing that I want to add to you here. So in a world of economic uncertainty, inflation, and corporate layoffs, the most predictable path to financial security is recurring income. That doesn't rely on trading time for money. Passive income isn't just a dream, it's the new requirement. The key takeaway principles here, wealth without time freedom is just another job. I love that. Wealth without time freedom is just another job. Passive income provides stability, leverage, and optionality. And the wealthiest investors acquire income-generating assets, not liabilities. Cool. That's that. Let's go to the action items for step 2. I feel like I'm cruising through them, but I know I've got a lot to share. Okay, number 1, calculate your monthly freedom number. How much do you need in passive income to cover your lifestyle? We do this all the time at the mastermind level, and also the people that are doing Wealth Going Global are literally going to get access to this. They're going to get access to our calculator in terms of that process. And a little cheat here as well is if you go to Wealth University and you go to the classroom, it's actually being offered in the start here. So everyone can get access to our calculator in terms of that process. Okay, choose your lane. Real estate syndications, lending funds, dividend stocks, digital products. So again, this is why we're doing Wealth Going Global. It's teaching you about the different asset classes. The first and most important thing is to have your plan. Most people get this wrong because they think that should I invest in this asset or that asset? That it's wrong. You have to get the plan first, and then the asset fits the plan, not the other way around. And choosing your lane is about understanding which assets work for you. Like investing in producing farmland is a great idea. Okay, but I don't know how to do it. Okay, like in terms of it. So I don't have any investments in that. There's lots of farmers on this group that know how to do that. But that's the point. Like, not every asset's perfect for everybody. So it's choose your lane. Identify one passive income investment opportunity and take action this quarter. So again, like in the next 30, 60, 90 days, you should invest in at least one income producing asset. And like, as an example, you can invest on our platform in our 30-day challenge and you get paid within 30 days. Prove to yourself it's possible in dollars or, pounds, euros, whatever. Reinvest cash flow to snowball your passive income. For me, the analogy I like to have is you've got a chicken, it lays an egg. That egg now creates another chicken. So now you've got 2 chickens laying 2 eggs. And then those 2 eggs become 2 more chickens. Now you've got 4 chickens laying 4 eggs. And those 4 eggs become 4 more chickens. Now you've got 8 chickens laying 8 eggs. I think it makes sense. And then join the passive income mastermind or community to learn, share, and grow faster. Again, Alex has shared this over here. So again, if you go to Classroom and you literally go to our investor roadmap, You can do this for free if you want to. Alex is taking you through the process. And if you want to join the Passive Income Challenge, you can. So it's there for you in terms of that process. Okay, those are the action steps. Let's move to number 3. CRE, which stands for commercial real estate lending, is breaking, which means a massive opportunity. So again, to remind you that in the next 12 months, there's over $1 trillion of commercial real estate mortgages coming due, and 25% of them are in default. Pretty interesting, pretty scary. The CRE lending reset is here. So what does that mean? Well, it's happening whether you like it or not. Now, you can see it as a big fear factor, and you can run away. But as Warren Buffett said, be greedy when others are fearful, and be fearful when others are greedy. And this represents a massive opportunity. But you need to know, you need to have the right partners. You need to be in the right sectors as well in terms of that process, because distressed assets equal opportunity. Build relationships with private capital. So one of the biggest opportunities now is debt capital. So again, this is talking more to like someone who wants to buy a commercial property, go and use private debt. We as investors, I'm not interested in trying to go, I mean, you can if you want to, but I don't do that. Go and buy the deal myself. I partner with people, and often we provide the private debt like we just did in Manhattan with regards to it. And then action, learn about debt stacks and be ready to act. So again, those of you that are coming on Wealth Going Global, I'm going to teach you all about stacks and how to find it. We go through it in module 4 and what it all means and how to put together a proper deal. And why this is so important is because this comes down to due diligence and ultimately knowing how to find the right partners, do due diligence on the right deals, which at Wealth Going Global, you're going to get taught all of this information. And again, you've got the survey. If at any point you think you want to become part of Wealth Going Global and or the discovery call, just click on the survey. Right. CRE is breaking, which means massive opportunity. Key insights. Hannah Hammond, by the way, most incredible lady. She's 29 years old. She has no silver spoon. No one gave her any up in life. She started her business at the age of 18. She bought her first house at 18. She did residential for a couple of years. And then she got into commercial broking and is now a commercial, like she works all over America. By the way, she works literally with Robert Kiyosaki. He literally has been mentoring her. 29 years old. She's got 26 staff members. Typical America, like incredible story at the age of 29. She said, we're experiencing a structural credit crunch in the commercial real estate, not just a short-term liquidity gap. And so she literally went through each and every sector, what you need to know, where the opportunities lie, where the risks lie. And again, at Wealth Going Global, I'll go through all of those in detail. And you need to know this stuff, because there's a significant opportunity, but also if you don't know what you're doing, there's a significant risk. Robert Helms, who is the guy that put the entire event together and has been running this. So he runs real estate radio and has done since 1997. So probably the guy that's got his finger on the pulse in American property or real estate more than most. He says there's no such thing as good or bad markets, just good or bad strategies. Literally, like, now you can see why we've got Wealth Going Global. You can also see why we've got the mastermind, because it all comes down to getting the right information, having the right strategies. Right. What are the key takeaways here for number 3? Let's just see here with my notes. The commercial real estate CRE market is in the eye of a storm. With rising interest rates, tighter credit conditions, and an aging debt wall, distressed assets are no longer hypothetical. They're here. While this has caught many off guard, those who understand the lending mechanics stand to gain the most. Operators who over-leverage with floating debt are facing massive resets. By the way, Hannah Hammond spoke of an opportunity. It was an aged care facility. There was $14 million of debt, and one of her partners picked it up for $1.8 million. That's the type of opportunity you want to be buying. Robert Kiyosaki and all of them have taught us our whole lives. Like, the best way to buy property is buying it off a distressed seller. Lenders are walking away, creating a vacuum filled by private equity and creative capital. So again, for us, and by the way, they spoke a lot about syndications. We actually are in a great situation to be able to take advantage of great opportunities. The debt cycle is resetting, lending rules have changed. Crisis creates forced sellers. This is where generational wealth changes hands. So again, if you look at any great crisis, that's where real opportunity takes place. Deals must now be underwritten with stress tested assumptions. So not like the heyday of kind of 2021 or before. Since interest rates have gone up, everything must be properly stress tested with regards to due diligence. The next the next CRE, the next commercial real estate cycle has already begun. Fortunes will be made by those who show up prepared. Cool. So what are the action items in terms of this process? And as investors, number one, learn how to read and underwrite the debt stack, senior mayors equity. It's module 4 of Wealth Going Global. Build relationships with private lenders and bridge financiers. Again, you and I don't need to do that because we build relationships with partners who need to have relationships with those type of people. Seek out cash flowing assets with value add potential and distressed sales. So it's all about cash flow. Just to be very clear, there was one very common theme, or one of the main common themes. It's all about cash flow. Partner with operators who are asset rich but liquidity constrained. So this is a brilliant one. So just like we did in Manhattan, you got an operator that has tremendous experience, has lots of big balance sheet, but like liquidity is a challenge. Interest rates have gone up, etc. So they did private debt. So we get in with great returns, private debt, protected by real estate. It provides it's a perfect storm for us as investors to be able to get great opportunities. Be ready to move fast. Distressed opportunities won't sit on the market. So like the self-storage that the mastermind's going to meet the operator on the 13th of August, I was with him the day that he raised $3 million for his next investment. He's got, just for the record, he's got 30 different self-storages and they're worth over 100 million. And what was interesting is that he's used all his own capital and now he's partnering with people for capital. And he put out a thing to raise $3 million and it got filled in 8 minutes. Let me put up my fingers so you can see that. 8 minutes. So there's no time to like dilly-daddle and think about it for 6 weeks and 3 months and whatever. So like, I've said to him, I want to take 15% of, because self-storage is one of the top 2 things we want to be in. We want to be in self-storage and we want to be in data centers of things we're not already in. And I said, I want to take 10 to 15% of every deal you do going forward. But that's what I mean in terms of speed, in terms of that process. Cool. Number 4. Let's just see in the chat room here. How's everyone doing? Is this making sense? A lot of information. I get that. But is it making sense in terms of this thing? Great. Number 4, global sovereignty, tax strategy, and asset protection. The core principle here is wealth must be protected before it is grown. Wow, we all kind of know that, particularly for people who have lost money. If you worked hard for your money, you don't want to give it away. Wealth must be protected. Trusts, offshore strategies, asset protection. So again, one of the things that's such a value add at the mastermind level is you get the partnership from a family office to look at your tax, your structuring, and specifically your asset protection. Action here, audit and structure globally now. So again, that's exactly what our family office do and our team when you join the mastermind. We literally sit down, we know what you have, we call it a health check. We understand what you have at the moment. They look at your tax, your structuring, how much protection do you have, and then they tell you what to do in terms of the next steps. So again, if you want, I said right up front, you can do this all yourself. I can tell you what to do. You can do it all yourself, or you can get partners to help you and do it with you for you in terms of that process. Right. What are the key insights here? Elizabeth. So Elizabeth was a lawyer that was all about wealth protection. You know, in America, everyone's trying to sue everyone, and the more money you got, the more of a red dot you got in your forehead. So she was talking about when you reach a certain level of wealth, it's not about what you earn, it's about what you keep and protect. And it was all about wealth protection. Again, aim more at the Americans, which is why I prefer working with our family office, because they deal with global citizens and how do you do it at a global level in terms of investing. Robert Kiyosaki, control everything, own nothing. That's the secret of the rich. By the way, he referenced Rockefeller, who the oil guy, where it's originally came from, where Rockefeller said, control everything, own nothing, the secret to the rich. Cool. Right, let me stop sharing. Let's see if there's any other key insights here for number 4. And yeah, so number 4, True wealth isn't about growth, it's about control, freedom, and protection. As global regulation tighten, tax regimes shift, those without a plan will find themselves exposed. The theme was echoed across multiple sessions where experts detailed the strategies the wealthy use to retain the control of their assets, reduce their tax burden legally, and diversify across jurisdictions. Basically, that is exactly what our family office do in our mastermind. And if you're interested, then at a minimum, type in mastermind and or book a discovery call in terms of the process. The rules of the game have changed. The new investor must be globally structured, tax aware, and privacy oriented, which I also find really interesting. Tax strategy is not tax evasion. It's intelligent planning within the rules. Asset protection must be implemented before the threat arrives. And sovereignty starts with structuring your life and business globally, not just locally. I just love this stuff. Like I've been talking about diversification for a decade or more, actually. And it's so interesting that now you're with the best in the world and they're going on and on and on about it. Okay, let's, by the way, Americans didn't do this, eh? So I've been presenting in America. I've been going to events for more than 10 years. This is the first time I've been in an event where Americans are telling Americans to diversify. In fact, it was so bad when I was in America in I don't remember if it was 2014, I think. I was on a panel and someone said, why would I want to invest out of America? And the guy who ran one of the biggest venture capital companies in America said, why would you do that? Like the moment I invest outside of, when America coughs, the rest of the world get a cold. That's their attitude 10 years ago. It's changed. Tax strategy, action steps. So I'm sharing my screen. Yes. Number one, conduct an asset protection audit, map your current liabilities and exposures. For those people who are part of my team, because by the way, no one on my team see this either. I was like a Cheshire cat with a smile from ear to ear, because literally what they were telling everyone to do, we built in the mastermind, like to do this for you. Set up layered structures, trusts, LLCs, foundations that fit your country of domicile. So again, have a personalized team that can help you set this up so that you do it right. Explore second residency or citizenships as tools for flexibility and risk mitigation. I know South Africans understand this. So do people in China and India and Dubai. Don't just have one passport stuck in one country, in terms of that process. Diversify holdings across jurisdictions, banks, real estate, gold, vaults. So I heard a horrible story actually where one person had all their money in gold and then the vault got robbed. Like nothing's perfect, just to be clear. I, many years ago, for a decade, told everyone medical buildings were the best thing I'd ever seen. I thought they were literally resilient. And then COVID came and a bad operator plus COVID, and I've lost money. So have the investors. So nothing's resilient. Like the only thing that's resilient is diversification across the sector. And then partner with global legal and tax advisors who understand offshore compliance. So again, this is probably the best advice that I could give you. I should have said up front, I didn't have a slide for that. Okay, problem. I'm not giving you any financial advice. I'm sharing with you my key takeaways and all summaries of everything from the event. But yeah, use it to your advantage or not, but it's still your choice. But the best, thing that you can do with regards to getting advisors is most people they live in South Africa, they go to a South African attorney and they say, help me do this. And that person sends you off to Mauritius because they got one little structure set up in Mauritius. And then after that, they try to sell you products, and all the products, you can only do those products and they're stuck in Mauritius or the Seychelles or, the Isle of Man or something. You need a partner that understands how to do this at a global level and can personalize it for you and your family. And then based on the plan, you get the plan right, then you worry about the assets. But don't be put in a box. Create a personalized plan. And you have to have partners that can do that. Now, at a mastermind level, that's what we do. Outside of the mastermind, I haven't really seen that anywhere else. Okay, number 5. The US dollar dominance is ending. Are you ready? Core principle. The US dollar as a reserve status is fading. Oh, by the way, it's not going to happen overnight. There's not going to be any grand event. But the one I liked most here, and there were multiple panels and events on this, is that it's in a steady decline. And it's going to take time. Like the US dollar is the biggest network effect, so the biggest network ever in the world, the most efficient network. And whenever you got a network, something to replace it has to be 10 times better. There was agreement it won't be gold and it won't be cryptocurrency like a Bitcoin. They don't know what it is, and it won't happen until there's a 10x better opportunity. Okay, so it's not going to happen like tomorrow morning, but it's happening. Like it's on a sharp decline. You've got things like BRICS, you've got the gold trade, and you've got CBDCs, which are the cryptocurrencies, but they're the ones where the central banks run the cryptocurrencies, which is kind of an oxymoron for what a decentralized currency is supposed to be. Brent Johnson, who has the dollar milkshake theory, Schiff said the end of the dollar warnings, gammon, geopolitical risk analysis. There was one truth, no matter who you listen to, this monetary system is dying. And what is the action? Diversify out of USD assets and study multipolar strategies. So again, just to be clear here, if you're not American and you don't have all your money tied up in American, in real estate, in American assets, then they're not saying leave America. They're just saying don't have everything in America. I personally still believe there's a lot of validation to have a large portion in America, but just don't have all of it in America. And I wouldn't have all of my money in any country, currency, asset class with one partner. That's the principle of diversification. Right, what did they say? Peter Schiff, the rest of the world is waking up. The dollar's strength is a mirage propped up by faith that's fading. So again, the only reason it's the reserve currency is because people believe in the US dollar. No matter where you go in the world, people want US dollars. It's fading. And the moment that trust is eroding, which it already is, then it overnight can like people can stop accepting it. And they spoke also quite a lot about weaponizing the dollar. And the fact that Biden put the sanctions on Russia and just basically took all the assets and all that sort of stuff. Like the world used to trust America and the American dollar, and they don't anymore. And Trump's got in, and he's even more erratic with the tariffs and everything else. And because of that, people are moving away from the American dollar. Mike Maloney showed charts comparing fiat collapses, Weimar parallels, and shadow banking stress. So the Weimar is I think it was the German currency, and talking about, I think it is, actually maybe someone in the chat box could tell me if I'm wrong with that. But anyway, he was just showing how this has happened over and over again, and he's studied money for 2,500 years, and every single time there's been paper money, whoever's in control prints money in debt and eventually ends in terms of the process. Yes, Michael said it's Germany, so I was right. Okay, and then Brent Johnson said the dollar milkshake is real, but it ends in a gut punch. So dollar milkshake is where whenever there's a crisis in the world, traditionally everyone sort of went to trusting America, and money went into America, and then the dollar got stronger. And what he's basically saying is that there's a structural and seismic shift that's happening, and that's happening less and less. And the gut punch is the moment that America loses the reserve currency, they won't be able to print money freely. The American consumer has very little savings. Interest rates and inflation will go up simultaneously, and it'll dramatically impact lifestyle in America. Jim Ricketts, who was referenced, highlighted the future of currency blocks, gold trade, gold-backed trade, CBCs, and non-dollar energy settlements. This is a much longer conversation, but there was a whole panel for 90 minutes on what are the alternatives, of which cryptocurrency and specifically Bitcoin were discussed at length. They also spoke about cryptocurrencies backed by gold. I asked them about cryptocurrencies backed by real estate. I can do an entire session just on that. But basically, all of these things are eroding the value of the US dollar along with the sentiment based on the weaponization. Okay, let's look at my thing here for number 5. The US dollar has been the world's reserve currency since, it says 1944, but I think it's actually 1945. The era is ending. Multiple summit sessions address the decline of the dollar's dominance, from exploding US debt to geopolitical realignments and the rise of alternatives like gold, yuan, BRICS settlements, and CBDCs. Dollar supremacy relies on confidence, and that's deteriorating. Inflation and debt are eroding the value of the US treasuries as safe haven assets. So again, whenever there was concern, money went into the American treasury, specifically the American bond. And what's interesting, and I'm going to talk about it just now, central banks are no longer trusting this, and they're actually buying gold now. The American Treasury, American bonds used to be number one, and gold was number two. Gold is now number one. As global trade shifts away from the US dollar, inflation risk and capital controls will rise domestically. So it creates big problems for America. They can't be the big, they can't kind of just do whatever they want anymore in terms of that process. Right. What do you do as an investor with regards to this? Is here. So number one, diversify out of US dollar denominated assets, invest globally in property, gold, etc. Explore gold, silver, and hard assets alternatives as a hedge. Stay informed about BRICS, oil price changes, and cross-border settlements. By the way, we talk about this at the mastermind level because every month our family office comes and presents us on the economic data we need to know. So we go through this. I can show you all the charts. We go through this on a regular basis to keep you up to date as to what you need to know. Study what happened when Britain lost its reserve status. Historical patterns repeat. So most people don't know this, but the pound was the last reserve currency. It took 2 world wars for England to lose its reserve currency. And after the First World War, it was in fast decline, and then took the Second World War to wipe it out. And then America came in with all its power and money and gold and its military, and basically did Bretton Woods and said, right, we're now in charge. And what the conversation was is that study history, it repeats itself. Create a portfolio that thrives in a multipolar world. So again, this is where you've got to have a resilient portfolio that takes into account all of these different complexities in terms of it. Right, that's number 5. Number 6, gold and silver are not relics, they're insurance. Core principle, gold is equal to insurance, not speculation. By the way, this was one of my biggest takeaways. I don't invest in gold or silver. I don't have any gold or silver until the conference. I now have gold and silver in terms of this process. Silver is leverage on the monetary reset. I'll talk a bit more about that. And the action is allocate 5 to 15% to precious metals. Now, some might argue less, more, it doesn't matter. But I know certainly me and most people have no precious metals and or like less than 1%. So the average financial advisor would advise less than 1%. And they were saying that should change quite dramatically. And by the way, there wasn't 1 or 2 people. There wasn't one person at the conference that disagreed with us, whether it was Robert Kiyosaki, Peter Schiff, Mike Maloney, George Cameron, it didn't matter who it was. During the summit, gold and silver weren't discussed as investments. They were discussed as lifeboats. Let me stop sharing quickly. As fiat currencies continue their downward spiral, seasoned investors are treating precious metals like financial oxygen masks. Quite an interesting term. Historical data shows every fiat currency eventually goes to zero. Gold has survived 5,000 years. Silver was repeatedly referenced as gold on steroids during monetary resets. So just by the way, the average price of silver compared to gold is that normally it took 15 ounces of silver to buy 1 ounce of gold. It's they call it the silver gold. I've forgotten the name now. Anyway, the silver gold ratio, the gold silver ratio, I think it's called. When I was there, it was 93 to 1, and they were basically saying like it's completely out. So either gold is completely overvalued or silver is massively undervalued. The panel and everyone that was there, by the way, it was the most, according to them, the most advanced gold and silver panel ever put together. And they reckon that silver will be in triple digits. So they believe silver will double by the end of the year. And within the next 12 months, by the time of the next summit, it'll be in triple digits. Takeaway principles. Precious metals are long-term stores of value, not get-rich-quick schemes. They serve as protection from inflation, currency devaluation, and systematic risk. And every portfolio needs some exposure, not for performance, but for preservation. Cool. What did people say? And what were the action steps? Let's look here quickly. Mike Maloney said, gold is not to get rich, gold is to stay rich. Peter Schiff said, gold has no counterparty risk. That's what makes it irreplaceable. Okay, what are the action steps? Allocate 5 to 15% of your portfolio to gold or silver based on your risk profile. Use physical bullion storage options, including offshore vaults with legal separation from banking systems. Explore tokenized gold-silver options for liquidity. but don't rely on them solely. Understand the difference between paper gold, ETFs, and real gold, allocated and physical, and study historical reset patterns. Every major transition favors those who hold real money. Cool. Next, number 7, AI, exponential technology, and the investor edge. I can see there's lots of comments and stuff coming in. I'm not able to keep up with all of them. I will try and look right at the end, but I don't have time to go into all the Q&A. Otherwise, we'll never get through all 10. The core principle here, I'm showing my screen, is AI is the multiplier of this decade. Use AI for analysis, content, and deal flow. And the action is implement AI tools in your investor process. So there was a lot of talk about AI and exponential technology. But in simple terms, it's not a gimmick anymore. It's essential to use it in terms of what is happening with regards to investing and doing due diligence. And again, when you do Wealth Going Global, I'll take you through this in more detail. It's one of the reasons why I've done Wealth Going Global 2 years ago. It's time for an upgrade for Wealth Going Global because technology and specifically AI has improved dramatically in the last 2 years. Right, the key insights. Josh Lair, AI strategist. By the way, this guy's 22 years old. And he works with Robert Kiyosaki, Ken McElroy, George Gammon, Peter Schiff, literally some of the best in the world. And he does all their stuff using AI. If you're not using AI to multiply your time, someone else is, and they'll outpace you. One of the things I was so proud of our team and my partner specifically, Shane, was that we, almost everything he said we should do, we were already doing. Or if we hadn't actually implemented it, Shane was building it while we speak. So it was like super awesome to go there and see the best practice in the world, and we were doing it. Ken McElroy, we use AI to underwrite deals faster, identify threats earlier, and systemize property management. There were multiple sessions on content automation, prompt engineering, predictive analytics, and crypto AI convergence, showcased powerful new edge cases. Okay, let me just read my notes here and see if I've got other stuff to add. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, AI isn't coming, it's here, and it's not just transforming industries, it's redefining how investors generate income, make decisions, and scale operations. The summit showcased the intersection of innovation and investing, revealing how early adopters are turning disruption into advantage. AI isn't just for tech founders, it's a multiplier for everyday investors. By the way, if you don't know how to use AI, that is literally module 7. It's the bonus module of Wealth Going Global, where I'm going to teach you how to do it. First movers will have the edge in productivity, decision-making, and deal flow. Learning how to use AI, not build it, is the real opportunity. And AI won't replace investors, but investors using AI will replace those who don't. I'm going to say that again. AI won't replace investors, but investors using AI will replace those who don't. Cool. Share my screen again. The action steps. Implement AI tools for personal productivity, transcription, note-taking, scheduling. Just by the way, what I've just done now, I was never able to do in the past. I've always been very good at listening to, going to an event, listening, writing notes, coming back. When I went with Richard Branson there, I basically, I gave people a webinar, whatever. It was never at this level of detail. It was never at this level of quality because I didn't have the ability to record everything, transcribe it, synthesize it, turn it into the top information. This is using the power of technology. Use generative AI to create investor content and build your authority, email, social blogs. So that's maybe not for everyone, but what they were saying to investors, there's a lot of value in that. Again, we're doing all of that, which is fantastic. Leverage AI-driven data tools for deal analysis, portfolio management, and macro trends. By the way, we're not doing that much stuff there. And I learned a shitload in this space, like how to use AI for better due diligence and trends and everything in between. Study updated, subscribe to key AI trends, digest and attend investor tech crossover events. So again, like what's happening in the AI space, but more importantly, like because most of us don't have to know like all the latest in AI, but we do have to know like what is the right AI tools for and investing and overlap them. And that's exactly what I'm doing at Wealth Going Global in terms of that process. Build or join a tech-savvy investor tribe, learn from other tools, hacks, prompts. Look, I don't know what else to say to you, whether you want to join Wealth Hackers or come on the course with me at Wealth Going Global, or even join the mastermind. There's not many people in the world, and I'm being arrogant now, and I apologize, but it's a fact, that have done as much technology and real estate globally as I have. I studied it in 1998. I did my dissertation in 1998 on how technology was going to change property, real estate, and construction. I did my master's in London in 2001, and I've literally spent my entire career figuring out how technology is going to enhance the property, the real estate, the construction industry. And some of you do what I know. I've been to Singularity, which is the top of exponential technology university, blah, 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 blah. So yeah, our community is primed globally to use the best of technology, which is our whole platform, just by the way, and marry it together with investing, and also to do it at a global level, not like stuck in England or stuck in South Africa or stuck in America. Okay, next one. Number 8, community equals currency. Core principle here is your network is your net worth. The biggest edge you can have is who you're in the room with. Jim Rohn said, you're the average of 5 people you spend the most time with. So most of you have heard this before. The 5 people you spend the most time with, I would recommend doing an audit. Who do you spend the most time with? Because the who is going to become more and more important. The next wealth wave will be led by intentional tribes. So tribes are people who come together, a group of like-minded people, but they're intentional. So like our mastermind is about diversification. So if you're interested in diversification, that's what our mastermind's about. It's intentional. It's for people that want to become global citizens. So if you come to me and say, I want to fix and flip houses in Cape Town, I'm like, awesome. But that's not what we do. That's the opposite of intentional. Action, audit your tribe, and join high-level investor communities. I've spoken about this so many times. I have the privilege of working with some of the best in the world. And almost without fail, the best in the world are now involving themselves in masterminds with the thing they want to learn to get the result they want to get. Okay, Tony Robbins, which is the one I learned from him years ago, proximity is power. That's why I pay to $10,000 to be in the room, or $50,000 to Tony Robbins. There's nothing more powerful than being in the room with the people that are doing what you want, getting the results that you want. Robert Kiyosaki said, your network is your net worth. Hang out with losers, you'll be a loser. Hang out with investors, you'll become one. Interesting. So wherever you are on the spectrum, if you're a ranked beginner and all your mates are broke, you're probably going to stay broke. You certainly want to get out of that tribe. But even if you're a wealthy person stuck in one country, unless you're hanging around like-minded global citizens, you're not going to become a global citizen. Attendees shared stories of how they found business partners, mentors, and life-changing investments just showing up in the room. Just by the way, the 14 people who were on the faculty, they didn't pay 1 cent to be, sorry, let me rephrase that. They were not paid 1 cent to be in the room. So I found that fascinating. Okay, they weren't paid to be there. Okay, that makes sense. On top of that, they didn't even have their boat cruise paid for. They had to pay for their boat cruise. And on top of that, they had to give up 9 days of their life. And yet, they were all there, and most of them have been coming back multiple times. Robert's come back for 10 years in a row. Don't you find that fascinating? I find that, sorry, I lie. He's come 10 times. He missed 2 or 3 years when he was getting divorced. I find that fascinating. So they're choosing to give up 9 days of their life. They're paying to be there, and they're adding value. Why? Because they're learning from the latest and the greatest. They're meeting other investors. And almost everyone I met has been back not once, not twice, but multiple times over. The summit created an ecosystem of collaboration, not competition, among investors across the globe. And by the way, I've got 5 spots for next year. And my mastermind members I've already let know, because 5 people are going to join me at the next Investor Summit next year. Okay. It's the best thing I've ever been to in the investment space by a long way. Right. Sorry, just before I go to the action, let me just see here quickly. This wasn't just, let me stop sharing. This wasn't just a financial summit, it was a tribal awakening. The wealthiest people in the room weren't just rich in assets, but they were rich in relationships, mentorship, and proximity. If theme one was about asset classes, this theme was about the asset of connection, and why your network will be your number one wealth multiplier in the next 10 years. Let me repeat that. Your network will be your number one wealth multiplier in the next 10 years. So what is your network like? And is it going to enable your wealth to multiply in the next 10 years? Because it's the number one thing which is going to impact your wealth multiplication over the next 10 years. You rise and fall based on the level of your peer group. True investors don't operate in isolation. They operate in ecosystems. In a decentralized, fragmented world, your tribe is your edge. In the new era of abundance, collaboration beats competition, and currency flows to communities that create value together. You know this because I say it all the time. Zig Ziglar, you can have anything you want in life if you help enough other people get what they want. So basically, it goes to communities that add value together. And hopefully, most of you that have known us for a long time, that's why we have shareholders that are involved in our company, because we're a community company. It's all about community. How can we add value together, and how can we actually help people invest like the top 1%. Cool. What were the action items here? Audit your tribe. Are they lifting you up or dragging you down? Again, who are the top 5 people you hang around with? Join investment groups, masterminds, and online platforms where you can engage with other serious wealth builders. Again, you've got an option. If you say, I got no money, well, go sign up for Wealth University. If nothing else, it's free. And you can join a tribe. And if you want to go to the next level, then you got our Wealth Hacker community. If you want to go to the next level, you can join our mastermind community. Prioritize proximity, attend in-person events, dinners, and retreats where alignment is high. Our next one is in September, our Wealth Weekend, where we spend 3 days with some incredible people and with our family office in a room. Proximity is power, and it's all about immersing yourself and like getting results. Give before you ask. Relationships compound when built on value, not extraction. That's a principle of life. So how can you add value to others? And then build your personal brand and investor identity. People can't connect with what they don't see. Quite an interesting one. What they were saying is that nowadays you all have to have a personal brand, because even when you invest in like syndications or whatever, people are always checking, who are you? What's your track record? You say you're good for the money. Is it actually going to turn up? All of that sort of stuff. Right, number 9, mindset. How are we doing for time? Mindset, psychology, and legacy. The core principle here, money follows mindset. Emotional discipline is more important than strategy. So I said earlier that strategy is really important. Well, emotional discipline is even more important than strategy. By the way, we did a whole session on this at the mastermind level with our family office about how to have the right psychology during all of these uncertain times. Like mindset is so, so important. Wealth isn't just money, it's mindset. From unblocking trauma to thinking 100 years ahead, the best investors are now becoming architects of legacy. I speak to people all the time, and something that resonates with most people is they want to be able to leave a legacy. So how do you become an architect of your legacy? Action, write your legacy plan, and master investment psychology. That's exactly what Wealth Going Global is all about. I'm going to try and teach you what you need to know. And, in terms of a legacy plan, that's what our mastermind is all about. You literally get to sit with the family office and create it. Okay, money follows mindset, which was generally the biggest takeaway from that summit panel. Robert Kiyosaki said, you're not an investor just because you buy something. You're an investor when your mindset changes. Emotional discipline, especially in volatile markets, is more important than any single investment strategy. And true wealth is measured not just in returns, but in the legacy you leave and the freedom you live. How cool is that? I'm going to say that again. True wealth is measured not just in the returns, but in the legacy you leave and the freedom you live. Okay, let me see if there were any other key takeaways here. Wealth is not created from spreadsheets alone. It's created from belief systems, habits, confidence, and clarity of purpose. Why do you think tomorrow, literally tomorrow at Wealth Going Global, module number 1 is your why, which is all about your clarity. At the heart of every investor at the summit was a shift, not just in information, but in identity. The real transformation is mental. All starts in the head. That's why, again, Wealth Going Global is so critically important, because it's all about getting you in the right headspace, the right knowledge to get results. Okay, takeaway principles. Money follows mindset. You must shift identity before shifting results. So, like, I can't overemphasize how often I talk about this. Scarcity thinking is the #1 anchor holding people back. I have it all the time. I don't have the time. I don't have the money. I don't have the knowledge. I can't come on this course or join that mastermind. But it's that scarcity thinking which is the #1 thing holding people back. And without purpose and vision, wealth becomes empty. Even if you get money and you don't have purpose and vision, it's not worth anything. You don't attract abundance by chasing money. You attract it by becoming the version of yourself who can handle it. Beautiful. Okay, I'm hoping you're enjoying all these little insights. And if you're not remembering all of them, it's all in that workbook. All you have to do is go and put in the word wealth, and you'll get access to the workbook. Right, what are the action steps? Write your investor origin story. How do you start? What shaped you and where are you going? So this is your money story. Okay, like, what is your story around money? Define your vision of financial freedom. Not a number, but a life. So again, the very first module of Wealth Going Global is, why is this important to you? What does your life look like? When you get clear on your why, everyone's always trying to worry about the how and the what. You'll never get the result if you worry about the how and the what. The first thing you have to focus on is the why. Practice emotional detachment from market noise. Build systems to guide behavior, not feelings. That's what Wealth Going Global is all about. That's what the mastermind's all about. Don't have emotions. Don't have, I don't know, this, but someone said this. I got an email about this. Have systems and have the right information with the right partners so that you can make decisions. Commit to mastery. Choose one skill to develop this quarter, e.g. underwriting, deal flow, due diligence. What we try and do at the mastermind level is every month we come in with an expert or an authority in one area, so that every month they are learning one new skill around this space. And I would strongly recommend, if you want to do it on your own, fine, but commit to mastery. Like, if you want to be an investor and you want to make your money work for you and you want to be wealthy, you have to commit to mastery. And then lastly, write your legacy statement. What impact do you want your wealth to have on the world? Maybe it's just your children. Doesn't matter. What's your legacy statement? Cool. Right. Number 10. The world is fracturing. Diversify across borders. Core principle. Geopolitical risk equals financial risk. Borders are becoming walls. Political risk, capital controls, war cycles, currency devaluation. The answer is global diversification across countries, currencies, and partners. And the action, diversify across countries, currencies, and partners. Now, Ray Dalio wasn't there, but you know that Ray Dalio says the single most important component to financial success is diversification. And when you ask him to go into more detail, he says diversification across countries, currencies, and partners. You must understand how excited I was. I went there to listen and learn, and we've been teaching this for years, and it literally came through as the single most important thing was the word diversification, and that's what we do. So it was pretty awesome. I'm not going to lie, in terms of that process. Right, what did Brent Johnson say? The dollar milkshake will wreck weaker currencies, but eventually destabilize the whole system. Peter Schiff said, don't keep all your assets in one country, one currency, or one political system. And Elizabeth warned that wealth protection session highlighted second residency, international structures, and global banking are essential tools, not luxuries. Right, let's look at the extra information here. One of the most sobering themes of the summit was the breakdown of the global systems, economic, political, and social. From currency wars to supply chain shifts, from geopolitical tensions to cultural divergence, the world is splitting into blocks. For investors, this means the end of business as usual and the beginning of borderless strategy. Sovereignty requires diversification beyond borders, so your own personal sovereignty. Political risk is now financial risk, and those who prepare globally will survive locally. Great one. Those who prepare globally will survive locally, wherever locally is. That's why I love the thought is, think globally, live locally. Borders are becoming walls. The prepared will move through them, while the unprepared will be trapped behind them. That's cooler. Borders are becoming walls. The prepared will move through them, while the unprepared will be trapped behind them. So if you currently are trapped behind a wall, come to Wealth Going Global. We'll teach you how to do it differently. Okay, and then what are your action steps? Number one, review your exposure to single jurisdictions, property, currency, regulation. Hopefully that is self-explanatory for everyone, but I know that so many investors are still stuck in one country. Like it'll be someone who's stuck in South Africa and has all their money in South African property, and they're like, oh, I've got diversification, I own lots of property. You're not at all. Your money's all stuck in one country, one asset class, one currency. Exactly the same in England. By the way, I've just had real problem with an English, property. I'm selling it, and that whole buy-to-let thing, like the laws are changing in England. It's an absolute shit show in England. If you're trying to be an old mom and pop investor, please, 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 I beg all of you, don't invest like mom and pop investors anywhere in the world, actually, but specifically, like, be careful in England. There's a way to do it. I'll teach you how to do it at Wealth Going Global, but don't do it the old way. Don't go to the average estate agent who's running a property show in a hotel and buy a bloody apartment. It's ridiculous. Open a secondary offshore bank or brokerage account. Explore secondary residency or citizenship by investment programs. Invest in international real estate in stable pro-investor jurisdictions. And stay informed on macro trends, especially currency volatility, debt levels, and emerging markets. So what Wealth Going Global is, I told you already. Countries, currencies, assets, partners, etc. Okay, so that's it. What is your investor action plan? Run your freedom number. Use the freedom calculator to figure out how much passive income you need to become free. Build a resilient portfolio. Use the bucket strategy, security, growth, and freedom. Add real assets, private deals, and asymmetric investments. So we talk a lot about this at the mastermind level. Our family office literally does this personally for every mastermind client, where they build a plan right to the age of 100. They call it the bucket strategy, and there's different buckets for different stages of life. And then the different assets and asymmetric risk reward means you basically want to reduce the risk and increase the return. And it's where things are not tied together. So like if you've got all your money in the stock market and they all go down, then you've got high risk because there's no asymmetric risk reward, which means it's opposite. Protect the foundation, audit your legal structure, set up trusts, maximize insurance, eliminate single points of failure. That's why our family office comes in and does a health check. Like you go see a doctor, they do a health check on you. What do you currently have? And almost every single person, in fact, I can't think of one person that's joined the mastermind that had a healthy structure when they met the family office. Okay, join the right tribe. Proximity is power. Actually, I lied. There were two that I know of that they were happy. Join the right tribe. Proximity is power. Join the Wealth University. Attend live events. Get on calls with people who challenge you to grow. Take action this quarter. So invest in one passive deal. Set up your structure. Block time weekly for education. Join a mastermind or a mentorship group. You might want to screenshot that, by the way. In terms of, let me see if there's any other information that was here. Just one piece here that I had in here is don't let this workbook sit on the shelf. Use it, share it, implement it. Your future will depend on what you do next. Okay, conclusion. Your tribe is your future. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. I've said that. The summit reminded me that wealth is not built alone. It's built in community with mentors, partners, accountability, and shared wisdom. So here's your next step. Again, you can join the Wealth University group. Kelly, if you wouldn't mind, I know you put it in earlier, but if you wouldn't mind just putting it in again. And for those that are watching the recording, you can literally go to wealthuniversity.org, and it'll take you through to the Wealth University, and you can get access to the stuff. And if you're wanting this workbook, it's literally here. You just go into it, you click on it, and you put in the comment wealth, like these people have, and then we'll personally send it to you in terms of that process. Okay. Sign up for Wealth Going Global. So that's a 6-week program. I'm taking you on a journey. It's 90 minutes a week for 6 weeks, where I'm going to teach you how to, firstly, your why. So why is this important? Then I'm going to teach you how to find the right countries, then the right currencies, how to choose the right assets, how do you find the right partners. And then finally, module 6 is bringing it all together with a plan. And then I've got a bonus module, which is using technology, specifically AI and exponential technology. And then if you want the mastermind, that's not for everyone. But for those that want to join the mastermind, that would be a discovery call. And if you're not sure, you can do Wealth Going Global. You get a discovery call anyway. Everyone that does the mastermind, it's valuable to do Wealth Going Global anyway. So if you're not sure, then you can join Wealth Going Global in terms of that process. Okay. There's no point in putting wealth, Sandile and Mike, in the chat room here, because the chat room is not like, you got to go to that Wealth University group and you got to put in wealth, because that's how we manage it. And the value is once you're in the Wealth University, we can add value to you. Get access to the VIP vault with all the summit replays. Again, that's within the Wealth University where you'll get access to that. Okay. So the question I have for all of you is, are you going to do this on your own, or do you have a team? And now hopefully you've seen it. I have shared with you 2 things. So you've got the workbook, and actually let me bring it up for you quickly. It'll be better if I do it this way around. So you've got the workbook. So everything that I've shared with you is in the workbook. I'm also going to share with you the wealth action plan. Okay, so I've told you what to do. I've given you the best information that I possibly can give you, and I've literally created workbooks based on the advice that they had to be able to implement and where you're at. So you get to choose now. Do you want to do it on your own? I've given you the information. You can go do it on your own, or have a team that is helping you do it with you, for you, in terms of that process. So your question again is, do you want to kind of stay with the 99% retail mom and pop investors, to be honest, business owners, employees, self-employed people, where you work for money? I don't care how big your business is. Most people are hustling for money. Or do you really want your money to work for you? That's where you take the money that you currently have and you make it work better for you in terms of that process. And that's what this is all about. And then if you want to make your money work for you, well, you can jump on a discovery call, and or you can jump and do Wealth Going Global. By the way, you can do both in terms of that process. And the survey is still up if you want to jump on a discovery call and or Wealth Going Global. What I'm going to do now is I've shared with you for the best part of 90 minutes, the most value that I can give you out of the event that I've been to. I'm now going to share with you more detail about what the discovery call is all about. And I'm also going to share with you more detail about what Wealth Going Global is about. So if you're interested in that, I'm going to take you through it. If you're not, you can sign off in terms of that process. But for me, the most important thing that came through at this whole event was that you actually had to have an action plan, and you need to have a community to be able to do it. Like they call it a tribe. Most people know what a tribe is, but it's tribe, community, exactly the same thing. So for me, it's about getting real now. And now I want to take people out of being in the 99% where they're stuck, anxious, reactive, and about investing like the top 1%. You're calm, strategic, and free. And it comes down to 6 shifts. And that's really, really important in terms of what I'm going to take you through. So let me just show you very quickly to give you a little bit more detail here. In terms of the discovery call, you're basically going to get a personalized investor strategy. So you're going to sit. So when you do the discovery call, you're going to meet with the team. We want to understand what you're wanting to achieve. And on the assumption we can help you, we're going to take you on a process. We're going to show you how to get a personalized investor strategy session. You're going to map out your wealth plan with your wealth coach. You're going to secure your financial freedom roadmap. And in terms of what that looks like is, you can see here, I went through this earlier, but there's effectively 3 steps. So like we want to understand where you're at, or sorry, no, we want to understand where you want to go. We understand where you're at, and then we help you create a plan. And the thing is, how do you achieve your goals as quick as possible? Well, there's 3 steps, or 3 phases really. There's a strategic wealth plan. So you put together a personalized wealth plan. You get access to income generating assets, and then finally you've got a smart investing system. So if you join the discovery call, the team can take you through that. And all you got to do is go to this link, diversifiedpassiveincome.com/call. And you can literally go online and you can book a call. Thank you very much, Kelly, for putting it in the chat room. And again, if I just open it up very quickly for you. If I click on that, you'll see that it comes up here, and it's a calendar, and you can literally book a call at a time that's convenient to yourself. If you're watching the recording, obviously the date and calendar might change, but again, it fits in with your time zone and everything in between. So we try to make it really easy for you in terms of that process. Now, the strategic wealth plan, what are you going to get out of that? You get a personalized roadmap to financial independence. You get full clarity on your capital, your goals, and your passive income plan, and you have the confidence to move forward without second guessing. That you can't put a price on that. Like having the confidence to know that you've got a plan, you've got the partners, and you can execute. Right, number 2, access to income generating investments. So you get 1 to 3 income generating investments activated, clarity on risk, return, and timeline, and then your money finally working for you in terms of that process. And then number 3, the smart investing system. You're going to grow the portfolio, generating regular passive income. You've got a repeatable system with monthly growth, and you've got a clear path to scaling your wealth without adding more complexity. So if that's of interest to you, you can literally go to that link. Kelly's already put it in the chat room, and you can go to diversifiedpassiveincome.com/call, jump on with a team, and yeah, let's see how we can help you and if you qualify. This is specifically for people that want to work with us one-to-one in a personalized way, work with the family office in a personalized way, and ultimately it's about joining the mastermind in terms of that process. Okay, then on the other side is you join Wealth Going Global. This is where you get access to the full Wealth Going Global course. You learn the 6 keys to global diversification. You position yourself like the top 1%. And I've been teaching this for years now, but diversification 5.0 literally is the future. Like everyone has to do this. You diversify across countries, currencies, assets, partners, and time. And that is exactly what Wealth Going Global is all about. It teaches you how to do this, how to actually implement this properly. There are 4 elements to passive income. You've got to have the right partners. You've got to have access to the right deals. You've got to have the right information, and you've got to have diversification. And this is what is essential. Now, if you don't know how to do that, no problem, because literally this is how you get paid. We call it our paid framework. This is how you get paid a diversified passive income of $1,000 or more. And, you know, for me, Wealth Going Global has been built for that. So I know, Michelle, you just said thanks for the event. And Michelle's coming on the journey with Wealth Going Global. This is exactly what Michelle is going to get by joining it. The key thing here is that it's 6 modules and it starts tomorrow. So don't phone me in a week's time or don't phone me in 2 weeks' time and say, I want to join. It's too late. I'm doing this live and it starts tomorrow. So it might feel like a sales pitch. It's not. I'm literally telling you, based on all the information I've shared with you, that you have an opportunity to get involved. It starts tomorrow. If you can't be on the call tomorrow, no problem. You'll get the recording in terms of that process, but it literally starts tomorrow. What do we run through? Well, the first module is the power of clarity. So this is where most people never build wealth because they're chasing tactics, not reason. And so in this module, we literally get you clear on your freedom number. So I just told you to do all of this stuff. And by the way, I didn't tell you, it came from the Investor Summit. So get clear on your freedom number, not someone else's. So we literally help you answer how much passive income do you really need to define your freedom number? When do you want to do it by? And again, what matters most to you? Protection, growth, peace of mind. Everyone has different things. So you've got to get clear on that. Without clarity, wealth feels overwhelming. We simplify it for you. And you're literally going to walk away with your clear why, which for most people alone is worth the price of being involved in terms of this process. Module number 2, all around countries. We explore where the smart money is going. After everything I said tonight, should you be investing in America, Dubai, England, Germany, Australia, South Africa, China, India? Where? It's about using our global property system and also Clem Santa's scenario planning so that you can avoid overvalued markets. By the way, a lot of people have been asking me about Dubai. I think Dubai is a good place, but be very careful. Identify top performing regions and pick 3 to 5 countries you should focus on based on risk, return, and timing. No more guessing, no more hype, just data-driven decisions. Right, module 3, currencies. Most people underestimate currency risk. I've just spoken quite a lot about currency risk tonight. So in this module, which currencies are stable versus declining? How do you protect your buying power? How do you forecast currency trends? Why is your income and your investments not all tied up to one government, one country? You're going to complete the Global Wealth Index and walk away with 3 to 5 currencies that will protect and grow your net worth. Okay, module 4. This is all about assets. Now that you know where to invest and what currency to invest in, it's time to choose the right assets. In this module, we're going to break down the 15 core global asset classes. We're going to look at residential property, commercial property, and alternative investments. We're going to look at the 8 rules to asset selection. And we're going to teach you how to think like a family office, long-term, stable, and diversified. You're going to create a short list of 10 to 15 assets across real estate, private equity, debt, infrastructure, and more of where you should be investing. Okay, I'm going through this quickly so that you can get an essence and an overview. Partners, the power of partnership. So in this one, oops, sorry, just before I go there. In this one, the truth is, and you just heard it like about 20 times, wealthy people don't do everything themselves. Who you invest with matters more than what you invest in. Who you invest with matters more than what you invest in. So in this module, we look at our strategic partnerships. How do you set up strategic partnerships? And this is our global due diligence framework. This is access to partner checklists, white papers, and interviews. It's insights into who you should trust and who you should avoid. And you really get to decide. You're either going to build your own network, you can go do all the work yourself, or you can plug in ours. I've been doing this 28 years. And that's why I go to things like that and meet someone who does self-storage. By the way, I've got 6 people like the self-storage person. I'm not going into details because that's what Wealth Going Global is all about. And I've done the work, and you can connect straight into that network. Right. The next one is time and building a plan. Most financial plans are 30 pages of fluff from advisors. In this, it's all about building your portfolio for the different stages of your life. How do you build income now and growth long term? And it's about compounding. I spoke about that earlier. We covered asset timing cycles, geographic time arbitrage, and long-term versus short-term asset risk. And in your one-pager investor strategy sheet, you're going to understand what your freedom number is, you're going to understand what your diversification plan is, and you're going to know which assets, countries, currencies, and timelines to get there. Simple, visual, and executable. And then finally, there is a need for the bonus module, because this is where we bring it all together with smart investing. How do you automate, scale, and protect your plan? And in this module, it's literally about bringing together technology, tax, digital access, family planning. How do you use the latest tech tools that the top investors are using? How do you track, manage, and automate your global portfolio? What AI tools and fintech do you need to know that can help you enhance your investing? And that's why it's a bonus module. And this is one that probably more than the other ones has to be updated more regularly because stuff is changing, month by month. It's actually unbelievable how AI is changing in terms of that process. So if you're interested in that, the transformation you're going to get is by the end of the 6 modules, you'll walk away with a personalized roadmap and wealth strategy, clarity on what to do and in what order, the knowledge and frameworks of how the top 1% build and protect wealth, and a wealth plan to act on immediately without overwhelm or wasted time. So let me just look here quickly. Here's a question I'd have for you. 10 years ago, do you wish that you had a plan like this? Like even all this information I've given you and you have a plan. Do you wish that you could go back 10 years, like back 10 years and actually know this knowledge now and put a plan in place? And if you do, just type yes in the chat room. Just type yes. Okay. Well, the next best thing is to join Wealth Going Global and make sure that you've got it going forward. Because I literally, like, that's why we're doing Wealth Going Global. And I want to show you exactly how it works, what it costs, and what you need to get started. So if you want to, if you're tired and you don't want any more information, then you can go home. But if you're interested to join Wealth Going Global and have a plan, then I just want to go through in a little bit more detail how you can do it. So if you want that, just type yes. If you don't want it, like, that's fine. I know it all. I've been there already. I've got the information. I'm doing it. So yeah, if you're interested, just type yes, and I'll take you through it in terms of that process. So just to remind you, like some of the things I've done over the last 10, 20 years, the book came out over 12 years ago now. It was $30. To do a buyer's trip, with me 10 years ago was costing $5,000 to come to America, UK, Australia. The due diligence, when we do it on deals, it's $250,000 or more. Our mastermind started at $6,000 to be able to participate. And you know that I've just been to this Investor Summit and invested $10,000 to literally be there myself. So that's what I do. And what's so interesting is that what most other people do is they spend years trying to figure it out themselves. They delay the decision because they're overwhelmed. They get stuck in local markets, one currency, one advisor, and hope it all works out. Does that sound like you? The difference is the wealthy do it different. They buy time. That's why they go and spend $10,000 and spend 9 days there, because they're buying time. They don't have to go out. Like all of that information comes to them in 9 days. They buy guidance. And that's what Wealth Going Global is going to do for you. We're going to help you condense time. We're going to give you the guidance that you need. So what is it all about? Well, module 1 is all about understanding your why. This is your clarity, and it's your personalized freedom plan. And the value of that alone is $997. Countries, this is where to invest. What are the top 3 to 5 markets for your goals now, today? Not what your mate thinks, not what an estate agent thinks, not what your broker thinks. What's right for you now? Again, worth $997. Module 3 is currencies. Like what currencies should you be investing in? Should it be the Swiss franc or the dollar or the euro or Bitcoin or gold? This is about risk-proofing your income and your capital. $997 is the value. Assets. How do you choose the right assets? What are 15 smart asset classes that are matched for you personally? Back to your plan. It's worth $997. Partners. The power of partnership. How do you invest globally with confidence? And this is about using our frameworks so that you can go do it on your own. You can copy our frameworks, or you can join us with our partners. But in simple terms, I think this is one of the greatest gifts I can give you, because I've done this 28 years and I made lots of mistakes. And by going through those mistakes, I can help you avoid the mistakes. Timing's everything. Your portfolio construction, ultimately at the age of 65, or basically when you want to retire, 85% of your total return is going to come down to your portfolio construction. Who's doing it for you? Do you have a long-term wealth strategy? And then finally, the bonus module, smart investing, where we bring it all together with tech and the future of smart investing. And this is all about, things like AI and how do you actually do it. So you're literally going to walk away with a personalized executable roadmap in terms of that process. The total value, it's just short of $7,000 in terms of that. And Francina, it starts tomorrow at 12 o'clock South African time, 11 o'clock UK time. But as I say, it is recorded, and it's every Tuesday for the next 6 weeks in terms of that process. And that's what it looks like. That is Wealth Going Global. That's how it all comes together. Like I said to you, it literally starts tomorrow. And the question I got for you is, I'm not going to charge you $7,000. But if I did charge you $7,000 and all it did was help you achieve your freedom number, would it be worth it to you? Just think about that. And would you pay $7,000 if it helped you achieve your freedom goal? And if you would, then type yes in the chat box. Because this is really, really important. Like, how much would you invest in yourself if it helped you achieve this outcome? And, you know, if it helped you achieve your freedom goal, would you invest $7,000? What about if all it did was help you protect your wealth? You know, you've worked so hard for money and you want to protect your money that you've worked hard for. Would it be worth $7,000 to you? And I promise you, anyone who's lost money before knows that there's nothing worse than losing money. So would you pay $7,000 to protect the money you have? And again, if you would, type yes. If all this did was save you a decade. So again, you can go figure all this stuff out. You can fly all over the world. I've done this 28 years. You can fly all over the world, figure it all out yourself. Or you could take a decade and condense it into 6 weeks. Would it be worth $7,000 to you? I know that wealthy, successful people, the most valuable thing is time. How do you condense time? Why do you think people pay $10,000 to go to this Investor Summit and condense everything into 9 days? And what if all it did was provide you with globally diversified passive income and thus peace of mind? You know, how valuable to you is peace of mind? And if all it did was give you peace of mind, would it be worth $7,000 to you in that process? Now, for many of you who've gone, yes, 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 yes. The good news I have for you is that we're not charging you $7,000. And, you know, again, I should, based on, you know, market-related standards, be charging at least $997 because it's worth a hell of a lot more than that. However, I feel very, very strongly, and our team feels very strongly, that we want to democratize access to this. Because if you think about it, like you'd pay $997 to $2,000 for a typical program like this. Any of our live immersion events cost $5,000 or more. Our mastermind costs $6,000 to $24,000. My private coaching, $1,000 an hour. And I've just spent $10,000 getting the latest information so I can come back and share it with you. And all the IP, all the intellectual property. And that's why we literally did this timing, where Wealth Going Global was straight after this Investor Summit. But the good news is you don't pay $5,000. You don't even pay $997. The exciting news I have for all of you is that today it's $497. That's it. For 6 weeks of live training, tools, personalized strategies, and access to coaching with me personally, you're going to get a clear roadmap to build and protect your wealth like the top 1%. And all you need to do is go to that link. Now, if you went to the survey and you said you want to do Wealth Going Global, I would strongly recommend that if you've made up your mind, go to this link and join us, because it literally starts tomorrow. It's not a sales pitch, it's a fact. So if you're still here, I know you're serious, and now's the best time to act. Like, let's start your journey today, because the best time was 10 years ago. We all agree that. Backtrack 10 years. We can't go back 10 years. So the next best time is right now, today. Let's get that plan in place for you. Let's get you started now. I want to invite you to become part of Wealth Going Global. And you know, the best part is anyone can do this. Beginners can do this. And I want to show you how to do it. Does that sound good to you? Because if it does, literally, and if you're watching the recording, go and click on the link below, and or go to this. I know that Kelly, if you could just put the link in the chat room, I'd appreciate it, that people can click on it. And again, if you go to that link, you can see it here. It's going to bring up this page, and you can literally go here, fill in your details, go next. You got the payment details. If you want to go read all about it, you can. You go look at all the testimonials. They're all here in terms of that process. But if you want to join, literally click on the link and join us. And what's really interesting when you think about it is that $497, if you divide that by 365 days, it's less than $1.36 per day. And for those that are thinking in rands, that's 24 rand a day. I guarantee you today you've wasted 24 rand or $1.36, no matter where you are in the world. If you're in England, it's £1.20. I guarantee you've wasted that buying a coffee or doing something frivolous today. Would you invest $1.36 in your future so that you knew you were setting yourself up to invest like the top 1%, to have a plan, and to get the results of the top 1%. I've literally taught you everything from that I found at the Investor Summit. I've given you the workbook. But what I can't give you is how to implement it. I can give you the theory, but now we're getting practical. And would you invest $1.36 a day for the next year to get practical and to get results? We've got a guaranteed satisfaction. So if you're not sure, sign up. And if you go through the program and you don't like it, we'll give you money back. Because some people are thinking, this might be overwhelming. I'm not a numbers person. I waited too long. I'm too old. It's not that. Every single investor that I've worked with thought the same thing. But what changed in them is they made a decision. They stopped guessing. They stopped delaying. And they committed to building the future that they wanted. And that's how they got the results. And why does this work? Well, it's simple. It's not a course, it's a plan. It's not theory, it's execution. I've given you the theory tonight. The next best thing you could have done is go on the boat with me. But you didn't have to, because I've taken it all. I've given you all the theory. Now it's about execution. It's not fluff, it's frameworks. What are the best in the world doing? Copy them and implement it. It's designed for action, results, and wealth creation. So, if that's what you want, come and join me in Wealth Going Global. The future cost of inaction. Well, you can keep doing what the 99%, the 99%, and ultimately, you're going to stay trapped in one economy. You're going to watch inflation eat your returns. You're going to let fear delay your freedom. Or you can come here. You can think like a global citizen. You can invest like the top 1%. You can secure your family's future. And you can buy time, protect wealth, and create freedom. And all you need to do there is to join Wealth Going Global. And I've got a video here that I want to share with you. And this is a video of, let me stop sharing here quickly. This is a gentleman. So he was a wealthy gentleman. He was in one country. That country happened to be South Africa. He is an accountant and a very successful property investor and everything in between. But his money was still tied up in one country. And he did Wealth Going Global. And this was his feedback on it. Sorry, hang on. I want to share this video with you. It's a short little video, some amazing advice from him. And I just want to share this for you so that you can take advantage. So really listen to him of what is so important, because everything I've been trying to teach you tonight, Abdul sums it up perfectly.
And I'm a living example of that. In my little life journey from opening up my own auditing practice, the firm today audits the Auditor General of South Africa in terms of doing, pre-issuance reviews, etc.
So Abdul, let me ask a question to you in terms of it. So you've been very, very successful in property in your country, but you went and decided to sign up.
Scott, like I said to you at the beginning, I have this wealth. It's all localized. I have no exposure anywhere else on earth. Okay, so the catchy phrase from your side was going global or diversified income going global. Now that appealed to me. In other words, yes, I may be rich in this country. What happens if I'm outside? There's all types of restrictions in terms of the transfer of my wealth, my assets, wherever I may be on earth. So that appealed to me, and that really opened an opportunity or a process for me in terms of engaging in diversifying my wealth. And I must say, although I have the brains to think that out, why must I do that? Yeah, you're giving it to us on a platter. So we follow that process, and yes, we engage, and yes, we will get exposed. We have obviously since did do an investment again in property. Property is the economics, I understand. Now, one of the things you alerted us or reminded myself is that if you do things in teams, it becomes easier. Collective wisdom is better than your own limited and parochial type of ideas. So that's also something I quite enjoyed. But if you don't have that, maybe we'll never get to success.
Yeah.
Surely it won't happen next week, but as long as it happens, I think you're on the right road. And that's the path I've chosen to take. And thanks to you, Scott. And it's never too late. The only time when you're late is when you're late. You're dead.
Yeah.
Up until then, you have a purpose on this earth, perform it.
So, what an amazing man, and I really enjoyed his feedback. And he said, do it in teams. And, it's interesting because, wealthy people understand, I've told you this already, that they buy time and get access to the right knowledge. They're happy to invest in themselves. And really you get to choose. And Abdul's a classic example of that. He also showed you how to do it in teams versus trying to do it on your own. But it's really important to understand that this literally starts tomorrow. Okay, like in terms of this process. So I've shared it with you. There are a couple of spots left, not a lot, because I've kept it limited so I can give you personal attention. So if you are interested, like there is no time like tonight. You literally get started, reserve your spot so that tomorrow you can join us. If you can't join us tomorrow because you've got a busy day, you'll get the recording, but you at least got started. Because if you phone me up in a week, it's going to be too late. So it starts tomorrow. It's running for 6 weeks. You'll have lifetime access to the recordings, and all the sessions are recorded. And every Friday, I offer you weekly coaching. So again, all the information we had tonight, on Friday, I'll be going through it. If people have questions, I'll try and answer those questions in terms of that process. You can go look at what everyone else has said. There's hundreds of testimonials, both written and videos of people that have been through this. And what I find really interesting is that there's a reason that hundreds of business owners and professionals and entrepreneurs have said yes. Because we've helped everyone from school teachers to multimillionaires go through this. Plumbers, doctors, farmers, accountants, high-powered business people, investors. They've all gone through this. And in simple terms, if you've got money, if you've got capital, and you desire to make it work for you, then this is your path. That's why we created Wealth Going Global. It's not a beginner theory course. It's an advanced framework for professionals and business owners who want to invest like the top 1%. And if you're still with me, then this is your opportunity. So if you're still not sure, ask yourself, literally, because this is not just about money. It's about clarity, control, and community. And why this is important is that the question I want you to ask yourself is, where will you be 12 months from now without a plan? What will, what's going to be different? What is the cost of waiting? You've probably waited for years. What about if 497 unlocks $1 million in upside? And let me explain this to you. Because every month you delay, you are literally losing compounded returns. You have the concern, the worry, the anxiety of bad policy shocks stuck in one country, and you're stuck in financial guesswork. You don't quite trust your financial planner. You're frustrated because you got your money in your pension and retirement, and it's not really going anywhere. And the opposite to that is a 497 is better than one flight. I mean, it's cheaper than flying to America with me. It's better than one mistake. You put your money in the wrong place and lose it. And it's better than going to one bad advisor that takes lots of fees and doesn't make you get your result. And I'll prove it to you financially, because you're going to get a global roadmap for life. And if you just have $12,000 to invest, just $12,000, and you were to invest 497 in yourself, so you got this course, so you do this course, so it gives you what you need. Over 1 year, you're going to have a return of 77%. Over 5 years, it's 2,195%, or roughly $10,912 in today's money. So would you invest $497 in yourself if it was going to give you back $10,912 in today's money? It's a no-brainer. You would do it. And that's what I'm showing you is the return on investment. What about over 10 years? It's 9,661%. This is the difference between doing it the old school way, how 99% of people do it, and investing like the top 1%. I'm showing you the difference. It's $85,000 over 10 years. And over 30 years, it equates to $743,000. This is the power of compounding and having the right information and the right partners compared to not. So just a couple of other things that are important if you do Wealth Going Global. You're going to get the discovery call as a bonus. I've shown you tonight as a gift how to do that already. But we specifically want to help people. Wealth Going Global will get preference. Bonus number 2 is you get coaching and accountability. So every single Friday, I turn up and provide coaching and clarity. And my question to you is, who is your accountability partner? I can promise you your financial advisor's not. They're definitely not your accountability partner. But you're not alone. And I presume that's why you showed up and why you're still online. Because we're going global. And we've done the legwork. I've just shown you literally for the entire evening how to do this and make it easy for you. And so this is easy. I'm going to show you how. And again, you should have done this 10 years ago. I've been doing it 28 years. But if you haven't done it, do it right now. It's worth over $6,000, just that alone, by the way. My rate is $1,000 an hour. You're getting me for 6 weeks. Okay, bonus number 3 is all the calculators. I'm not going to go into all the detail, but as part of the course, we give you access to all the calculators. That's worth $197. And then we give you the cheat sheets. So the access to the deal risk cheat sheets, the asset terminology, diversification, and more. That is worth $997. And then Clem Sunter. It's really important to know what the latest scenarios are, flags, probabilities, etc. That is worth $750. So if you put all those bonuses together, literally you've got the discovery session, which gives you clarity. You've got the coaching and accountability, which gives you results. You've got the calculators, which gives you your visibility. You've got the cheat sheets, which I don't know about you, but I don't like going and reading books. I like to look at cheat sheets. And then Clem Sunter, which is really important from, knowing what to do in the world. You put that all together, it's worth over $15,000. And the best thing is that if you join, I'm literally taking all of this information, all of this value, everything that I invested $10,000 at Wealth Going Global, and I'm giving it back to you as part of Wealth Going Global. So what is the value to you of that? I don't know. I know for me, it's massive, absolutely massive in terms of that process. And I'm literally going to take you through all this information and I'm going to give it back to you. I've already given you the overall summary tonight, but what do you do with it? Now it's about the doing part. This is about the execution. And like I said, we've made it an absolute no-brainer. $497. We've made it an absolute no-brainer so that people can participate in terms of this process. So 2 last slides, and then I'm going to call it for tonight. Wealth Going Global is for those who want to make their money work while they sleep. It's you're done with analysis paralysis. You value global access and expert guidance. And my final comment to you is 10 years from now, will you look back on today, this moment? You've got the workbook, but now what do you do with the workbook? Are you going to look back on it as a day where you did nothing, like you've done, most people have done for years, if not decades, and continue to invest like the 99% and have all that pain and anxiety and lack of results? Well, you're actually going to step to this side of the fence and join the 1% and take ownership. Build your wealth GPS. Join the global investor journey. And just imagine what it will feel like to you to know exactly where to invest, how to have global exposure and peace of mind, make your money work for you while you sleep, and to ultimately have a global roadmap. Because if that appeals to you, then Wealth Going Global is the right answer, and you've literally got the link here to Wealth Going Global. So if anyone has any questions, I'm happy to answer any questions in terms of that process. I will just bring up this one slide here, which I think is relevant. Sorry, one last thing. If you join Wealth Going Global, you also will be able to use the $497 towards joining us at the Wealth Weekend. So our next Wealth Weekend is in September, and we get together with like-minded people. We get together with the family office. We've had the most incredible Wealth Weekends over the years, and there's nothing better than immersion. So get the knowledge, get the information, but now you immerse yourself with the family office. This was the one in March. And why should you come to Wealth Weekend? It's immersion with the family office. By the way, if you don't know what a family office is, they look after the wealthiest people in the world. This family office manages 65 families. So you get in the room with them and global investment experts. You have the next level of learning and strategy. You have a peer-to-peer mastermind. I mean, I don't know how many more times I could tell you tonight why that is so important. You're going to have a global perspective, but also a local advantage. You're going to get the emotional and psychological wealth mastery. How much did I talk about that tonight and why that's so important? You're going to get tangible outcomes. This is not about theory. How do you actually execute and get results? It's exclusive, so it's by invite only. So again, like you either have to be part of the mastermind or you have to come and be part of Wealth Going Global, and then you get the chance to join. And it's also about luxury. So, I mean, Knysna is one of the top holiday towns in the country. It's a beautiful destination. So we work and we have fun together in terms of that process. And the dates are the 9th to the 13th of September. Ideally, you turn up live and you're in the room, because there's nothing better than being in the room live, like I just experienced when I went over to the Bahamas. And if you can't turn up live, you can join us online. It will be a proper online process, which we can do. But if you join Wealth Going Global, we can let you know about that. I've got two last things I want to share with you. One is that Jeanette is a director of ABSA, and the big bank. For those of you who don't know, around the world, it's a bank like Barclays Bank. She's director of a bank, and more busy than anyone I've met in terms of a corporate professional. And she took the time to come to the Wealth Weekend for 3 days. And this was what it meant to her and her overall investment strategy and what I want for you. So I've given you all the theory tonight, but this is what I want for you in terms of what it means to you personally and what you get out of it.
What I love about it is that it helps me to be active. I'm not just putting in my money and then going away. I'm growing, it's investing in myself, but it's also given me an opportunity to even involve my family as well. You know, this notion of building generational wealth, it may be far-fetched for other people, but the mastermind has given me the opportunity to really start looking at how I built generational wealth. And I love that. And I can see how I'm integrating, the stuff that I'm doing and the passion I have for my corporate executive role, which I don't have to drop, but my wealth is also growing, and I'm also learning and continuing to invest.
So if you like what you said, if you like everything I've shared with you tonight, I have shown you where you can get both the Wealth Action Plan and the what did I call it, the workbook. You can get that for free. I've given you the theory. I always give away the theory for free because it's there. But if you want to execute on that theory, you get to decide. Do you want to do it on your own, or do you want to do it with someone? And if you want to do it with someone, you've got Wealth Going Global. If you want to set a discovery call, you've got that. And in simple terms, this is what I want, the transformation I want you to go from. The 99%, you're uncertain, anxious, lack diversification, lack globally diversified passive income, and are financially stuck. And they might have lots of money, but they're stuck in one country. To the top 1%, where you're investing like top 1%, you're diversified, you've got passive income, you've got financial freedom, and you're a global citizen. If it sounds good, Wealth Going Global is how you do it. So that's the link. Click on the link and come and join us. Right, I'm going to see if there's questions. I know I've taken a long time today and there's a lot of information I've shared. But let me see if there's any questions I can help with. Kelly, if you can help me if there's any questions that I haven't answered. And I really appreciate all the links, Kelly, everything you've done. I really, really appreciate it. So thank you for all the links, Kelly.
It's a pleasure. I don't know if the poll still shows up for everyone, or if you want to put it back up for the people that are still left. I know on my side.
The poll is up. I haven't closed it. So it is.
I know, but if people close it on their side, can you make it pop up again or not?
I don't think I can, no. So worst case, if you've got a problem with the poll and you want to join Wealth Going Global, just type in WGG. And if you want a discovery call, just type in discovery call. I can't make the poll come back if you switched it off.
Okay. Colisa had their hand up earlier, right at the beginning, was Nico. I see Nico's left, but if Colisa still has a question, I see Colisa still online.
It's easier for people to type. So if people can type if they've got questions. Sonia said, Was there a weekly coaching session last Friday, or does it? So Sonia, every Friday I'm live at 12 o'clock, and for the next 6 weeks, it'll be in relation to continuing the process from the Investor Summit and sharing all the information, a session at a time, and it'll also be reviewing what was the takeaway from from the week with regards to Wealth Going Global. So yes, and there's always a recording if people miss it in terms of that process. Thank you for all the kind words. I see there's lots of people that have said thank you, etc. If anyone's got questions and I haven't seen it, please just retype them, because there's so many comments. I don't know where to go and look for all of them.
Francina asked what time tomorrow? I think you answered that.
Yeah,
12 o'clock.
It's 12 p.m. South African time, my time. It's 11 a.m. UK time, and you can do the maths wherever you are in the world. It takes into account, it allows for the Americans to be part of it, plus the Australians, because everyone's taken care of. Thank you, Richard. No, I didn't take a breath. There's a hell of a lot of information, and even I still spent 2 hours. I could have spent 2 days, which is why we've got Wealth Going Global. Okay, lots of thank yous. So I'm assuming there's no more questions, or not no more, but if anyone can help, if you've got questions, please let me know if there's anything else I can help with. I want to remind everyone is that you can go, and Kelly's already shown you here, but if you want to, go to Wealth University, you go to the link, Wealth University, and you then go to community, and at the top, it is pinned here, and you literally go to Want the Investor Summit at Sea workbook. You click on here, and you will not only get the workbook, but you'll also get the Ultimate Wealth Action Plan. And all you got to do is you got to type in the comment wealth, and you put in the word wealth. And once you do that, the team will send it to you privately in terms of that process. So, and if you're watching the recording, the only thing is that this might not be pinned anymore. You might have to go and look for it, etc. I'll give you a little tip. Go over here and go to Wealth Strategy, and then all the Wealth Strategy stuff will come up and it'll be there. So maybe you're watching this recording in a month's time or whatever. But anyway, it just makes it easy for you in terms of that process. And then if you are interested in Wealth Going Global, you literally go to this link that Kelly shared. Again, wealthgoingglobal.com/join, and you can join Wealth Going Global. And then finally, if you want to set up a discovery call, you can literally go to diversifiedpassiveincome.com/call, and you can go. And obviously, if you're watching the recording, this will be updated, based on availability, and you can find a time that suits you. So, hope that helps in terms of the process.
Sorry, Jan, that was my fault. Are you able to type your question?
Who, me? Sorry, who?
Jan de Kock has put his hand up. Charles is asking if he's able to type the question.
That's fine. Let me try and unmute him. I don't know how to unmute him. Where is he?
His hand's raised. Can you see? Okay, I think
no, he's not there. Where's he gone now?
let me try. Okay, he's allowed to talk. You're allowed to talk, Jan.
Hi, Jan. How can I help, man?
Okay, let's try now.
Can I talk?
Yeah.
Yes.
Fire away, mate.
Oh, okay. Sorry to bug you about a silly question. Can I, as a mastermind, join tomorrow?
Yeah. Sorry. Great question, Jan. The mastermind's included for free, so you should have the links. I did put it on the mastermind group. Kelly, if we make sure tonight, we just send Jan the details. But no, as a mastermind member, Jan, you've got access to it already.
Yeah. Okay. No, I've done it before, but I'd like to do it again.
Yeah, perfect.
I'll send that to you.
Cool. Sorry about that, Jan, if you didn't have it. But yes, it's for the mastermind members, it's included.
Yeah. Okay, great. Thanks so much.
No problem, mate.
God bless.
Yep, thanks. Appreciate it. Ken said, where do you type wealth for the detailed sheets from the Scott's investor trip? Again, so Ken, it's I know you are one of our business mastery people, but just for everyone else's purposes, you would literally go to the wealth university, and there's a link here, and you literally click on it and put in wealth, and then I'll just share the link for you, Ken, if you're still here. I'll put the link in type answer for you, and I'll put it in there, and I'll put it in the chat box as well. Where's the chat box gone?
Have you found it?
Yeah. Well, so
Got
put
it.
it in the chat box for everyone to make it nice and easy for everyone. Hopefully, every single person who's here can get value out of this because they get access to the workbook. Okay. Cool. Okay, so those are those two questions. So I'm just trying to go through all the different questions here.
I went through all the questions. Everybody who asked questions in the beginning is not here anymore. So you've done all the questions for tonight.
Okay, but is there anything relevant that I should answer anyway? Just in, if someone's watching the recording.
I don't know, maybe we go through the links one more time, but besides that, I think we've been quite thorough.
Okay, awesome.
Unless anybody wants to ask something.
Yeah. Okay, let's wrap it up. It's quite a lot longer than I was expecting. But yeah, I'm certainly not going to apologize tonight because it actually took a hell of a lot of work. This is probably the single webinar that I've worked harder on because I had to do everything from scratch. And between that and because I knew that if I just shared the theory without a workbook, it wouldn't be that good because you'd have nothing to take away and digest. So it's taken a hell of a lot of work to put this all together, but I hope that we've added value to everyone in terms of this process. Justin said, I have citizenship in the US, and US, does it help me or not? I don't really know, but you don't need citizenship. I don't quite understand your question, but you can invest in America without having US citizenship. Anyone in the world can invest in America. So that's what we help people do. I don't know if that helps, Justin, but yeah, whether you got citizenship or not, I can help you invest in America, England, Europe, Australia, etc. So I don't know if that helps. Are wealth hackers included in Wealth Going Global? Kevin, you got access as a wealth hacker. You got access to the one that we did 2 years ago. So again, I'm sharing my screen. Yep. So if you go to Wealth Hackers and you go to Classroom, you've got access to Wealth Going Global. So you've got the course we did 2 years ago. In terms of the new one, you don't have access to the new one because that's a whole new course and a whole bunch of work that I'm going to be doing. But Kelly did. I think Kelly, we spoke about doing a discount for the wealth hackers in terms of that process. So if you are interested, Kevin, in that, maybe Kelly, if you can just reach out to Kevin and see if you can help him.
I'll do that.
And then Richard said, I recognize your efforts, Scott. It's really helpful and appreciate it. Thank you, Richard. Yeah, look, I'm trying my best. We as a team continue to try our best to add as much value as possible. Sometimes, actually, no, it's the opposite. We overwhelm people with so much information, but I truly don't know what or how to condense all the information. And I don't know. I'll finish off by saying the power of technology and AI nowadays is phenomenal. Like when you consider what we've managed to do and turn it into a 13, 14-page workbook, there's no one else, not a single other person at the summit has that. So, and basically there's nowhere else to get this in the world. And even if you were at the summit, I guarantee you it's not condensed into this level of detail. But I did the work when I was there to capture all the information. I've done the work since being there to synthesize it and make it easy. And I've tried to turn it into an action book for everyone. And with that, I promised you up front that I would try and add as much value as I possibly could. I hope you enjoyed it. If you think it's great, share it with your friends. It's free. Everyone has access to it. And now it's taken that theory that the best investors in the world have, and I've helped share it with everyone. But the most important thing now is what you do with it. And my strong recommendation is do one of two things. Book a discovery call or join Wealth Going Global, or both. But don't do anything. Good night, everyone. Thank you very much for your time. I look forward to our next one. Cheers.